Hello, and welcome to 52 Weeks of Health Equity with Conscious by Us. I'm your host, Tahisha. Imagine a world where everyone lives their healthiest version of life. What would that look like? At Conscious by Us, we believe health impacts all aspects of our lives, especially our progress towards creating a diverse and inclusive world where everyone feels they belong. So, not only does our health impact our lives, but it's also impacted by all of the things we have going on. In healthcare, we refer to these as the social determinants of health, which we can think of as five areas: economic stability, access to quality education, quality healthcare, the neighborhood and environment you live in, your social and community standing. So it's an interdependent relationship of all of these things working together to create the healthiest version of you. With that in mind, I decided I wanted to have 52 conversations with thought leaders and guests across a variety of areas related to subjects that impacted our health. On today's episode, we are going to be chatting about AI's role in driving diversity, equity, inclusion, and its potential impact that artificial intelligence could have on helping to shape a more equitable future, especially when we think about health. Because AI sits in that space that we think about when we talk about economic stability and environment, especially our work environments. So today, I'm so excited to have as our expert Shayne Halls. Shayne is the CEO of Manifested Dreams, LLC. Manifested Dreams, their mission is to help individuals and organizations unlock the potential of AI technology. So, who better to talk to us than someone who is really sharing, like, what's the potential of AI technology? Shayne, I would love if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, who you are, and maybe how you got interested in this.
No problem so much. Thank you so much again for the warm introduction, for the invite to be able to speak on this. This is a subject that I feel very passionately about and am always looking forward to opportunities to just help folks understand how AI can help impact this DI journey. So a little bit about me. I am first and foremost, I'm a born and raised Crucian, which means I was born in the U.S. Virgin Islands. St. Croix, Christiansted St. Croix to be more specific. Absolutely love my background. You always see it in my flags. Any interview you see me doing, any place you see me, you'll always see me representing St. Croix. I love being West Indian. I love being from white beaches and crystal clear water. It is nothing better. I tell my wife all the time that her life was significantly multiplied when she married someone from the Caribbean. It is fantastic now. So professionally, though, I am a 15-year DEI professional. DEI specialist who is just deeply committed to empowering corporate professionals and organizations, like you said, to unlock the full potential of AI technology in their careers and in their business operations. I have honed my expertise in the intersection of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now with artificial intelligence, just hoping to help folks understand that we're creating a unique vision that drives innovation and fosters just more inclusive environments.
I love that. But Shane, robots are going to come and take all our jobs. Isn't that what AI is going to do? And then we won't have any diversity because there'll be robots, right? Isn't that what the public kind of is fearing a little bit?
I mean, I think that that's the natural progression of technology, right? As technology increases, certain jobs are going to go away. When we went from horse and carriages to cars, we got away from stables. We got away from large horse, you know holding persons in front of your your rooms and places where you're going, your stores. When we went from rotary phones to more satellite-based phones, we got rid of operators, right? There was once a time where you had to call an operator, tell the operator the number you had to use, and then she connected you to that number. And as technology changed, so those operators changed. When we went away from having rotary phones to regular phones, those jobs went away. So with technology, with the advancement of technology, there will be jobs that will be replaced. But as we lose jobs, we also gain jobs, right? So yes, your more standard administrative jobs where someone is just doing Excel spreadsheets, where someone's just booking meetings, those jobs, yes, they're going to go away with AI technology because AI makes it more efficient, proficient, to use those technologies. But there's also going to be new jobs, right? There are going to be jobs. There are going to be prompt engineers. For those of you who don't know what a prompt engineer is, it's a term that's probably come to be in the last couple of years. That's basically someone who knows how to prompt an AI system to get the responses that you're looking for, right? It basically who understands what terms to use to get the response you're looking for. And if you think that's easy, I want you to download one of these image AI systems like stock image AI and go in there and have a picture in your mind and then try to describe the AI, the picture you want it to produce, and watch the struggle and watch the humble come upon you. I've never been so humbled as to trying to describe them to create a conference room for me. And the images that come back from what I'm trying to describe is not exactly what I was looking for. So, right, it takes a while to hone those skill sets. So, there's going to be new jobs that come along with the old jobs going away, right? We see it all the time.
And it
Go ahead.
sounds like you're almost hinting at some of the jobs that are going away are either the ones that were physically challenging, maybe dangerous, tedious and repetitive, the things that people complain about doing, that they don't find joy in, the things that make us feel maybe unhealthy because they're so like monotonous.
Monotonous.
Yes, we know human beings need a challenge, right? And
Yes.
a certain type of challenge in order for our brains to keep growing and developing. There's even studies on dementia and Alzheimer's that show the more you stimulate your brain, the more vital it stays. So it sounds like AI could really be a sort of changer when it comes to the job market and the economic stability piece, in keeping us, innovative in different ways that we've never been. And I'm going to throw this toward you because I know I sent you a list of questions and this was not on it, but
That's
as we were
okay.
sitting here, I
It's
thought
okay.
of it and I thought, wow, like it sounds like AI is almost going to have the general public learning new terms for careers. Because you
Of course.
mentioned this, like, person who
Prompt
instructs AI,
engineer. A prompt
prompt
engineer.
engineer,
Hmm.
right? So, like, I almost thought that was someone who worked in Hollywood, like giving you like your next line.
That's awesome.
So it sounds like we're going to have to upskill as the general public's going to have to upskill on terms because I remember like in the 80s when like the first person was like a computer programmer and people were like what is
Ooh,
that
yeah,
like so now
exactly.
we're entering like the next phase and AI seems to not so much lean on computer language but on general language, so it seems like it's almost going to force us to be better communicators.
It is. It is. Like we had a taste of what it was like to be coders when MySpace came out. For those of you who are old enough to remember MySpace, and we all had to use code to get MySpace to create the backgrounds and the looks that we wanted. Well, now with AI technology, you don't have to use code. You can just use your local colloquialisms. You can use your local words to prompt it to get what you want from it, and in doing so, you will be able to be more efficient, be more proficient, and that may cause, again, like we talked about, the loss of your administrative jobs, which will is going to cause a little bit of shift in equity in organizations. But that's also why having AI in your organization is so important, because you want to be able to identify the other areas in your organization where you are lacking diversity so that the AI technology can help you identify those spots and you can make the necessary adjustments in your hiring practices, in your interviewing practices to make sure that the equity line, the diversity line is still held true and that persons are being promoted, persons are being progressed in their careers, persons are being brought into the organization that can help keep the DEI in the organization equitable and true and right.
So how can so I will say that in the DEI space there's this cartoon that's out there where all of the diversity is kind of at the
Oh
lower
yeah,
spectrum of the pyramid. So
most
at the top
definitely.
is like your CEO, and the diversity is like at your
At the
staff
top.
level. If we're talking about maybe changing some of these jobs
Hmm.
that are more tedious and switching them over to AI, this could impact diversity in quite negative ways because we know that a lot of diversity hasn't trickled up, right?
Right.
So, how do you see AI, or how do you see us being more cognizant of the potential to kind of go backwards like
Right.
10 years or so when it comes to diversity and hiring?
Well, I mean, you have to start with leadership. I think that's one thing that we want to talk about because us persons or persons who are in the entry level roles, who are in the administrative roles, who are in the more monotonous roles, we see that there isn't any diversity above us, right? We can see when we look at the org chart that there isn't diversity above us. But it's when you are at the top and you're looking around you and you see everyone that looks like you. And when you're in a room full of people who looks like you tend to be comfortable in that space. And it's so you have to get leaders with the idea that seeing everyone that looks like you in a room with you is not a good thing, right? If you're not seeing diversity around you, then that means your organization has a problem because studies have shown that organizations who have more diverse leadership are more successful. And if you want to have a successful organization, you want to have diversity in that leadership table. So it starts with leadership, understanding that they need to make a change. And once leadership understands that, they can implement the tools, various AI tools that can help with like performance evaluations, in focusing on getting your performance evaluations more equitable, then your promotions will be more equitable. When your promotions are more equitable, leadership will be more equitable. Right. So it starts at the top in order for it to trickle down. Because the problem isn't diversity at the bottom. We all here. We've been here. We looking up at the CEOs, we looking up at the C suite. Right. The problem is the C suite wanting to step out of their comfort zone and look down and be like, okay, maybe we need to change up the C suite. Maybe we need to figure out which leaders aren't promoting a diverse organization and diverse business unit, which leaders are habitually only promoting persons who look like them, sound like them, talk like them, went to the same schools as them. Maybe those leaders are the ones we need to focus on to create more change. Those leaders are the ones we need to tie some sort of financial incentive bonus to make sure that they understand that they are doing the equitable thing. And if those leaders can't do it, then maybe we need to change those leaders, right? And those are the tough conversations that has to be had in order to create a more diverse organization. Because everyone in your organization doesn't want change, so we need to figure out who doesn't want change and get rid of them. To be honest with you, I mean it's that simple. If you're committed to change, then change. If not, then stop talking about it.
Uh, there it is, the phrase for today. If you're committed to change, change. If you're not, then stop talking about it. And so it sounds so simple, right? Get rid of the people who are barriers and in the way of helping you be more diverse and more equitable in your hiring
Mhm.
practices and implementing new ideas. Because I'm sure the people who don't want to change also are implementing some AI ideas, but they're probably doing it from the financial perspective, not necessarily
And the
the
equitable,
innovative piece.
exactly. They're doing it to strengthen the bottom line. So I can get rid of half my admin staff. Let them use AI to do the jobs of half the people that we got away with and increase the bottom line. They're not worried about, well, and the half of the admin staff am I going away with? Are they all diverse persons? Are these all persons of, marginalized backgrounds? If so, what does that do? How does that make my diversity look to my organization? They're not worried about that. They're worried about the bottom line, increasing their profit margin so they can increase their bonuses and whatnot. So we need leaders in place who care more about creating equitable environments than creating a bigger bonus structure for themselves.
And even maybe even thinking in the terms of like, well, if you do get rid of half of those people, well, what do the remaining positions look like? Do those shift? Do they have sort of that different components in them, because AI is great, but we've all read stories where it can be biased if looking at the wrong databases. It can, just like you were talking about, it needs some prompting.
Exactly.
Well, where is it drawing its information? And most organizations are not upskilled enough on AI to have like an internal team already existing to help them
Hmm.
navigate this. So then how are you fair with how split, like decide where you're going to move people around? And you know how can you also think about AI as tools to train people on, so they can maybe, um, we all have those days where we're like, wow, I have so much on this checklist that I can't get through. And there's probably a couple things on the checklist that could be offloaded that are
Easily.
more, and so what does it look like to also use AI to improve the efficiency of those who are still in roles, and like middle management? Could it be used to help middle management, like you mentioned, performance evaluations, make better decisions, equitable decisions, neutral decisions? Could it work like that? And so, is that kind of what you talk with organizations about, like the different things that they could implement to be more fair?
I think that's exactly what I talk to organizations about. That is exactly how it should look. We should take away bias-based decisions away from humans. I think that as humans, we hear the word bias, we hear uh, trouble. We hear the word bias, we hear negativity, right? When the truth is, we all have bias. I have a bias for St. Croix. So I think St. Croix is the greatest Caribbean island out there. I don't think there's another island better. It's my bias, right? I have a
There
bias.
are islanders who would argue with you.
Yeah, they can argue with their family members. I'm right, they're wrong. St. Croix is the best, right? So we all have bias. I have a bias for curry goat. Like I have a bias for my children over other children. I just like my kids better. They're mine, right? We all have biases as humans, and to think that we don't have bias is one of the biggest red flags for me when I'm talking to organizations. The minute someone jumps up and says, "I don't have bias, I don't see color," those phrases are troubling to me, because you have to understand what your bias is to know how your bias is coming into play. If you have a bias for playing golf, and when you're doing your performance evaluations, you and Joe Schmo get in a 30-minute conversation about golf and not necessarily about the goals that's happened, not necessarily about the troubles that the person may have had in their performance throughout the year, but you're just talking about your handicaps and your golf and your divots and your clubs and the newest spikes that you just bought. And at the end of the evaluation, you have this good, warm feeling about you, and you walk out and they get a great rating and they get promoted, they get a bigger bonus. What have you done for your organization that's actually helped? Right? Your bias is there, and AI can help eliminate that, because AI doesn't care about golf. AI doesn't care about where you go to drink. AI doesn't care about where you went to school. AI wants to know, did you hit the goals that you laid out for yourself this year? If not, what were the roadblocks to stop you from hitting those goals? AI performance evaluations help take away that bias that exists and helps to promote and create more inclusive managerial staffs.
So it sounds like it also helps with that, the employee feeling that, hey, I'm not the favorite, so I'm just
Ooh,
going in. I'm gonna sit in my
come on
weekly
now.
thing. I know I'm not the person
Yep.
who hangs out with the team. It sounds like it can make things fair in the way that it keeps you going back to, hey, here's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Because I don't know how many people have been in chats with managers, or you go in for a performance evaluation and maybe you're not the quote favorite person. So it's going to be quick. You're going to, okay, see you next time. You're getting a standard raise. And
Hmm.
maybe it can help highlight your performance more equally, and
Exactly.
also remove those sort of fears that, am I not getting promoted because
I didn't go out to
this?
get drinks last night.
Yes,
Come
like
on.
all of the things that, that used to be part of the good old boys of working.
Right.
And but I think some of that hanging out and work as life culture stems from and I'll throw this out there, it's not AI related at all,
That's fine. Let's
um,
go.
stems from when we used to live in a society where other people offloaded many of our chores, right? Like if you've ever watched the Brady Bunch, Alice is a housekeeper. He's an
Facts.
architect. I'm not sure what the wife does. I think she just manages the 6 kids.
Which is
But
a lot.
yeah, which is a lot.
I
Six
got
kids is a
4. I
lot.
can't imagine 6.
I can't imagine that either. But like, imagine now a lot of families have that many children and both
Mm-hmm.
parents work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of the things that we've done around the house piece have no one's actually picked those up at all. And so people were able to kind of hang out and to do things that were work related. But now a lot of our time is spent trying to manage two different businesses, the business of running a house and the business of being an employee. So it seems like AI can help you to not have as much fears about your personal time that you might have like thought you needed to devote
Right.
to
To
getting
the
that
work.
promotion.
Exactly. Rubbing the
Yes.
elbows, doing that schmoozing part of the
Yes,
job.
the smooth and devote that to the other business, which is our personal lives,
Yeah.
right? We all
Work-life
have this
balance.
business of running ourselves to keep ourselves healthy.
Oh, 1,000%. I think AI is just unspeakably important in making things more equitable in work, where someone who's introverted doesn't feel that pressure that I have to go out and get these drinks with people, that I have to go stand by the water cooler, that I have to ask you how your weekend was. Some people don't care how your weekend was. I'm not here to find out what you did this weekend, what adventure you went on. I just want to work and I want to do my job well. And there are many people over the years who do their jobs really well, but haven't gotten the acknowledgement they deserve because they didn't have it. That was a big thing. They just didn't. They didn't have the interpersonal skills that we're looking for here in this organization, right? Which basically means you weren't hanging out, you weren't laughing at the right jokes, you weren't shaking right, you weren't schmoozing the way you should. Some people just want to work and be good at their work, and so with AI can come in. You implement certain AI programs into your organization, and these programs can help conduct the performance evaluations. They can help see where the gaps are in leadership, what skill sets are missing, what diversity skill sets are missing, what diversity of check boxes are missing in your leadership, and kind of guide your organization through the steps of promoting and highlighting the candidates, the employees who can come in and fill those gaps in management and make things more equitable.
So, as listeners listening, right? So, what can they do to start upskilling themselves? Because we said something scary that like some of the admin jobs are going to go away.
Yep.
So, if I'm the general public and I'm seeing this and I have this fear of like AI is going to take over, AI is bad, like how can I? What kind of things can I start to do to either preserve my future in the workplace, or because if you don't, unfortunately, we live in a world where we have to work in order to have money, in order to be healthy, in order to have food.
Facts.
So, what can I do to preserve my ability to, work in this changing environment where AI is probably going to be everywhere? Do you have
Right.
any tips or,
Yeah, I
or
think I
thoughts?
think that is something that we do at my organization, Manifested Dreams. That we don't just talk to organizations; we talk to individuals about how to implement AI into their career path, so that they can be looked at from the organization as an asset, not a liability. And so, first thing you want to do is get rid of the mindset that AI is bad. Get rid of the mindset that AI is taking over, because AI has already taken over. Like AI has been here. Like AI is more integrated into your life than you can ever imagine. For those who
What?
have,
Are you trying to tell
yeah,
me something about Google?
I'm trying to tell you something about your Siri, your Alexa, how your whole life is wired to your sound of your voice. That is AI that's talking back to you. Google searches are the most basic rudimentary form of AI. You would literally sit down, you prompt Google with the question, and Google prompts you with answers. It is, you've been using AI forever. Now, what you see now is a more advanced AI. This is like going from the block cell phone that took up half your face and that you had to carry around in your hand in a briefcase to charge it, to the iPhone that's sitting in your pocket. It's just a jump in the technology that you've already been using. So don't be afraid of it. You've already been embracing it. Many people have self-driving cars, not just Teslas. There's so many cars out here that self-drive. And I know people that use it all the time. We drive down the road, we look around to you, we see people talking on their phone, we see people eating, and the car is moving right along with you, right?
So, from a health perspective, like the idea that AI is going to be in cars is fantastic because you're more likely to have a car accident than you are to have an accident flying. It has such
Exactly.
potential for safety when
Hmm.
it comes to like the physical engineering piece. I don't
Most
think
definitely.
anybody would fight the driving piece. Well, there's some people who
There are some
probably
people who
would
are
fight
definitely
the
fighting
driving
it.
piece. But I think Generation Z won't because they seem to be
They
more
love it.
leaned into like something else
Exactly.
driving for them. I would love a self-driving car. Hint, hint. Someone give me a self-driving car.
Somebody get
I'm
her a
kidding.
Tesla. FY. Somebody, get her an Escalade. When the new Escalades, the new GMC
Oh,
trucks, they all self drive. Hyundai Palisades, they all self drive. No, I think AI technology is here. It's all around us. So the first thing is embracing it, right? Get away from the idea that it's bad, that it's evil, that it's taken over, and embrace the idea that it's here to help. And understand that you've been using it. You've been using Alexa. You've been using Siri, and there's so many programs out there. Code AI, Chat GPT. There's so many programs out there that you can just start using on your own to become familiar with how to prompt and how to use it. That way, when your organization finally implements AI, you are already a step ahead of everyone else who's afraid of it. You understand what this is going to do, and your organization can look at you as someone who can help with the implementation, who can help with the transition, as opposed to someone who is a liability to the transition and a liability to the implementation.
and in the healthcare field, I will say, as AI gets more advanced and better at doing the documentation piece, interpreting uh, the protocols and standards, we're going to see probably less need to document the way that we do, which is a
Hmm.
big frustrator for providers and also for patients, right? When that person walks in and they got the computer, they're
Oh my
not
gosh.
looking at you like, dur, 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 and you're like, are they paying attention to me? Like the AI could help to bring back that, oh, computer barrier to like now I'm presencing because I'm offloading some of my documentation. So for the healthcare field, leaning into it as a documentation, like, and there's a lot of things that are out there from the documentation piece that they're working on, and it can also make us safer because just like you talked about the performance evaluations.
Hmm.
AI can often, and we're using it already. Sometimes you might see alerts or flags in your documentation that says, hey, like, did you realize like this person has this lab? Or, hey, they seem to be trending towards this protocol. Those are like
Exactly.
early AI sort of algorithms kind of in play, kind of prompting and guiding. So
Exactly.
imagine if they came up in different places.
And
Um,
the technology is there for it, right? We have voice to text technology, and so one thing in thinking about the healthcare field, as I have an older parent and have spent time in hospitals and doctors' offices quite frequently, the technology of voice to text is already something that we use all the time. We might we voice text through our watch, we voice text to our phones. Some persons who are writers, they use voice text to write their books. But if a healthcare professional would just be mic'd up when they're talking to their patient, and that voice to text technologies that AI has the capability of using is automatically just fed into their file and chart where the doctor isn't looking down at their tablet, but they're just talking, and the AI technology is using that to just create the answers in the system that's necessary. It creates that more personal interaction with doctor and patient. Their doctor is no longer worried about getting everything down, but the doctor is more concerned about having a conversation and finding out what's really going on. And the patient feels heard. When there's eye contact made through conversation, you feel more connected, you feel more heard. So if patients can feel heard, they can feel connected, and the AI technology can do all the note taking, then I think we're making leaps and bounds towards getting things back to a more personal time in healthcare.
Absolutely. And the other thing is we're living longer. So we need to be thinking about the human body wears out like any other machine. And so if we can offload the things that are tedious and wear down our body faster, tedious activities for the brain, physical activities that impact our joints and our muscles and tendons in negative
Yeah.
ways, if we can
Stress.
get rid of if yes, stress. Like we're living to our 80s and beyond. Like we need to start thinking of this as the way that we can continue to work, right?
Hmm.
Because the average lifespan retirement used to be 62. Now I think it's 65 and it's moving to the 70s, right? So, but if I retire at 62 and then live another 50 years, my brain would be so bored if I wasn't doing something. So, I talked with someone the other day who said a lot of people go back to work doing something just because
Right.
they want to do something. So think about the possibilities of AI could be supportive in getting rid of some of the ageism we have out there, that
Facts.
people can't do certain jobs because they're too old, or
Right.
they're not physically capable. So I love AI for that.
I do too. I think that there's a lot of persons who are sitting down in their golden years, who have a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and who can write books, who have things to pass along to us. And they may not, maybe they have arthritis, and typing out long books may be something that they just cannot see themselves doing. Well, AI is here to help. AI can help them sit down, put their experiences into words, and pass that wisdom along to the next generation. I think that the art of storytelling is something that we need to continue to embrace, and not just on the level of visual storytelling as far as like movies and series are concerned, but books and writing and reading. That is a way in which generations upon generations have passed along the wisdom from previous generations. And it's when persons in their golden era were able to sit down and talk to their younger era, and someone sat there and took notes down meticulously. Well, you don't have to do that now. AI is here where a person can sit down on the beach in St. Croix and talk and write out and talk about their experiences and their wisdom, and make sure their family members have it. Make sure persons know the experiences that they went through, so that we can make sure we avoid those same pitfalls during our time in our growth in our life.
Shane, you just opened up another can, right? Imagine a world where we can address generational trauma by leaning into and actually having a conversation
Hmm.
virtually with a a relative who has preserved their story. Imagine how much cheaper it would be to have a worldwide database of stories where you could see the human beings, the
Hmm.
story of human beings captured by AI generation after generation, and really learn from our history. That sounds like a beautiful world. I hope someone is working on that and creating that, because it sounds like we have the possibility to capture all of our
We do.
stories. I'm sure anthropologists and archaeologists often talk about how it's really hard to imagine what the past was like because we don't have all of the stories of all of the people, right? So imagine like just being able to look that up.
Yeah.
Um, Shane, we're coming to the end of our time. Thank you so much for being on the show with me. Is there any other thing that you want to just add, or any other thing listeners should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
most definitely. If you are interested in diversity and you are interested in advancement of the DEI efforts that we need to make, please go look up my ebook on Amazon. It is on there. You can look up Shayne Halls. You can look up the advancement of DEI technology with AI. You can look up several other ebooks that I have on there regarding AI in specific careers. Um, Go to our website, manifestedreams.org. You'll see things about our organization. You'll see areas in which you can get in contact with us to help with your career advancement, to help with your organizational advancement, to have me come in and talk and speak and let you know about how to use AI for the benefit of the persons within your company. I want people to understand that AI is here, that you cannot, under any circumstance, stick your head in the sand and think it's going to go somewhere. It's already woven its way into your life. It's not going anywhere. Right. So now you just have to embrace it. Like I say, tell people all the time, don't be a Netflix. Don't be a blockbuster in the world of Netflix. Okay. Embrace AI. It is here. You don't want to look back 10 years from now and think, oh man, I should have, I could have, I regret not doing. There's nothing more heavy than regret. Right. So don't live in a state of regret. Let's go ahead and embrace it. And while it's in this most deregulated mode that it will ever be in, find an AI program, use that AI program meticulously, use it habitually, become familiar with it, because your organization will implement it, and you don't want to be left behind when that happens, right? You want your career to be preserved. So just lean into AI, lean into it.
I love that. And I just want to also mention AI. One of the great things, or one of the things that I notice about AI, is it does use common language. So it's much easier for the general public to access than other technology that's come out. So if you are interested in AI, reach out to Shayne. He can give you some tips. His ebooks are out there, but this is something that, especially historically marginalized people, we may want to start looking at this with a like steady gaze, because you can learn AI, and it's not going to take learning a new type of computer language. It
Not
is
at
the
all.
language that we're speaking right now. So if anything, this could be the door we open into tech, if you're from a group that has historically been left out of technology fields. So, thank you so
Good.
much for being here. We will have information about Shayne on our page and also on our Conscious by Us's website. Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate you so
Thank you so much
much.
for the invite. Appreciate it.